Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. You've got Brandon Spriggs and Adam Christofferson from the Survey Loop team. We're excited to have you. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes here to join the webinar, and then we'll kick things off around 1:03. Sound good, Adam? I just pulled that number out of thin air.
That'll work.
Jerry, thank you for joining us. Anna, thank you for joining us. Paul, people are starting to pile in. All right, we're going to give just a couple of more minutes for more attendees to roll in. We still have folks coming on board, it looks like now. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, we will have Marquise that's paying attention to the chat. Feel free to drop them into the chat. We'll make sure we address them here for you while we're on the call. All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off for today. I want to start by saying welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Brandon Spriggs, co-founder and CEO of Survey Loop. Whether this is your first AEP season or your 15th, we're here to help you make it your most effective one yet.
And I'm Adam Christofferson, co-founder and head of product success. We're excited to walk you through how to maximize retention and referrals during AEP, specifically through strategies that drive loyalty, reviews, and referrals before AEP begins. Let's jump in, shall we, Brandon?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, everyone. So by the end of today's session, you're going to walk away with a couple of key action items. The first is going to be a clear plan to automate review collection, even during your busiest weeks of AEP. You're going to have proven ways to turn feedback into meaningful action, not just a score you glance at and forget. You're also going to have a system for increasing Google visibility without hiring more help or chasing down reviews. And you're going to learn how to use AI to handle the heavy lifting so you can stay focused on enrollments and client relationships this AEP. But first, let's start by talking about the old way of collecting reviews and how that looked. It relied heavily on manual follow-up. Maybe you remember to ask after a good appointment, maybe not. You'd say, hey, would you mind leaving me a review? And then hope that they actually did it. No system, no reminders, no consistency. And most importantly, no feedback loop to tell you what's working and what's not. That method just doesn't scale during AEP in today's workforce.
And if you've ever felt like you're running a million miles an hour during AEP, we get that. It's easy to let things like reviews or feedback fall off of the priority list. But here's the truth. Those reviews aren't just about ego. They drive search visibility, referral trust, and even help retain existing clients. So today, we'll show you a new way, one that triggers review requests automatically after policy meetings or enrollments, lets you get feedback through QR codes, SMS, or branded emails, and puts your best reviews where it counts on your Google business profile. This isn't about pushing tech, it's about giving you a system. With or without us, you'll walk away with tools you can use this AEP to strengthen relationships, show up in search, and stay top of mind. Let's start with the basics. Feedback and reviews, they're not the same thing. And if you've been treating them like they are, you're likely missing big opportunities because you need both.
And here's this feedback that internal, what your clients really think about how you show up for them, good or bad. Reviews, they're public. They shape your reputation. They're what importantly, no insights. Feedback is being intentional with both. Feedback is used to spot friction points before they cost you renewals. Reviews are actively collected and published on Google, timed right after a great service moment. Actionable tips with or without survey loop, you want to ask yourself, are you getting feedback from every client or just hearing from the loudest few? We recommend that our clients start simple. After each appointment, ask two things. How did I do today? And then secondly, would you be open to leaving a review on Google, telling them how it impacts and helps your business? Now, if you're using Survey Loop, we automate this. And if you're not, you can do things like use a free Google review link, and we'll show you how to get that and embed it in your emails. You can create a quick one-question survey and email it out weekly, manually. You can even use QR codes or printouts that are set up in your office for real-time review capture. This shift from guessing to knowing is what helps you improve service, retain clients, and get more referrals. Now, AEP is go time. We know this is your busiest time of the year. You're meeting with more clients than any other time of the year. That means you're also stacking up more opportunities, not just to serve, but to earn trust online. Every meeting, every phone call, every thank you moment is a potential review if and when you're ready for it.
And that matters. And it matters more than most people realize. Here's the deal 93% of people read reviews before making a decision. Google's algorithm factors in how recent and how frequent your reviews are. And agencies with consistent reviews show up in what's called the map pack, right when people are searching things like Medicare agent near me or help with enrollment, right within Google Maps. But here's the old way. Now, reviews, they're treated like a bonus, not a strategy. You get a few from months, maybe years ago. And when someone does Google you, they see something like 3.2 stars from 2021, and so they keep on scrolling. The new way is treating AEP like the marketing engine that it really is. Build a system to ask for those all important reviews at scale. Make it part of your daily rhythm, just like compliance or follow ups. Now, for some actionable tips with or without Survey Loop, frankly. If you're in back to back meetings, use a printout with a QR code in your office. Something like, we'd love your feedback, scan here. I'll show you how to do that in Survey Loop here in just a bit. Add a short line in your email signature during AEP, something like, happy with your experience? Leave us a quick review and drop the link right there in your email signature. You can assign a staff member to follow up after appointments with a pre-written text or email that links directly to your Google Business profile. Again, I'm going to show you that stuff within the platform here in a bit. Even doing this 5 times a day for 30 days really adds up. That's 150 potential fresh reviews, more than most agencies collect in a year. And they'll work for you long after AEP ends. But let's be honest, collecting reviews manually doesn't work at scale, especially during your busiest season during AEP. Your team's swamped with enrollments, coverage questions, compliance checks, manually chasing down reviews just isn't always realistic. And it looks like we might have lost Brandon. I'll take over. And even when someone does ask for a review, it's usually inconsistent. There's no system, maybe no reminders, no follow through. So what happens then? The client has a really good experience and that moment passes with no review. You go weeks or months without any updates to your online profile. And the few reviews you do have start to look stale, which hurts your credibility in local search. Here's the core problem with manual review collection. It's all effort, no scale. It's tied to memory, not to a process, and it's a chore. And just like chores in my house, those are the ones that get skipped by my kids.
Now, the new way is automation. It takes the task off your team's plate, sends the request at the right moment every time, follows up if there's no response, and routes negative feedback privately so it doesn't go public. Even if you're not ready for automation, here's how to move toward it. Create a shared calendar reminder, send 5 review requests daily. Use canned email and text templates to save time. Keep a printed QR code by your desk on your tablet. Assign one team member to own review follow-ups, especially during AEP. And whether it's automated or just better organized, the point is this: everyone can perform better with a system, because without one, reviews and your reputation become random. And things like that are too important to leave to chance. And Adam, by the way, thanks for taking care of me as my internet dropped right there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I
That's
noticed
what
that.
team members are for.
Not a problem, brother. So a bit more content on AI. We also layer in AI to supercharge your insights. Our platform uses AI to analyze patterns in feedback and prioritize what needs attention.
That's right, Adam. And for example, if multiple clients are flagging delays in response time, the system highlights that trend and routes it to the right team. It keeps your agency ownership and leadership aligned with your service and keeps your service quality high. And that leads to cleaner, more actionable reporting that you can use to impact and grow your business. No more guesswork.
To get the most from these tools, here are 5 things that you should do now to prepare for the upcoming AEP season. You should begin by auditing your current review and feedback process. What's working? What's not? You should turn on automation before October hits, so it's running when the volume really starts to spike in mid-October. Think about segmenting your book of business so outreach is personalized and it's timely. Equip your team with templates, scripts, and a follow-up plan. And lastly, you should set clear goals for how many reviews you want to get, the average response time, how much feedback do you really want?
Man, such great points, Adam. This prep work helps you hit the ground running. And most importantly, it puts systems in place so your results don't depend on heroic individual and random efforts. Why don't you show us how it's done? by giving us a quick demo.
Yeah, you got it, Brandon. Now that we've kind of we've expressed and we've discussed why this all matters and the difference between doing it manually versus doing it automated, I want to show you how easy it can be. We're going to walk through exactly how Survey Loop makes the entire review and feedback process seamless. From the moment that your appointment wraps up to when that glowing review shows up on Google. You're going to see how we help teams stay focused on enrollments while the system works quietly in the background, capturing your customers' feedback, boosting online visibility, and making you look like a rock star in local search. So let's jump in. I got to move some screens around so I can do this actual demo. And I think this will work. You guys all see Survey Loop? Brandon, give me a thumbs up. Perfecto. All right, we're logged into Survey Loop in production right now. I'm logged in. Our customers won't see this particular orange bar right here. This is just because I'm a super admin in the platform. So this is the dashboard screen right here is going to show dashboard level, kind of high level analytics on a word cloud and analytics level things. But I wanted to show you guys two things on the platform today. First, I'm going to show you how to build two different types of surveys in the platform. We kind of mentioned QR codes and having a QR code at the ready, either on a tablet or printed, maybe on a sticker on the wall or someplace that makes it really easy to gather feedback when you're in the moment in real life in front of a customer. And then the other one, that's called a public survey. The other one's called a private survey. And this is the automated component that we've made reference to as well, that automatically sends out a survey via email or in the future SMS directly to your book of business that you don't even have to lift a finger to do. So first, let's go into a private survey. I've for the sake of speed, I've already made this survey itself, but this is what our survey builder would look like. I'm going to walk through this with you to show you kind of how this all works. So the first thing you're going to do is build the content. This is ultimately what ends up in the email that I'm going to show you in a bit, and also what shows up here on the right-hand side, which is kind of a preview of what the survey looks like. So I've already gone through and added these things, these questions right here. Those are the main questions here is overall satisfaction. And then there's another question in here that says, how could we make your experience better if it wasn't so good? That's a conditional question. It's called conditional logic that only appears in the actual survey if one other question is answered in a specific way. And then lastly, we have this share review section right here, which is if somebody rates this particular question, please rate your overall satisfaction with our insurance services on a scale of 1 to 5, more than or equal to 4, then show them the next screen, which is, I'll show you in a bit, but it basically says, so glad you were so satisfied with that. Would you consider posting that exact review on our Google Business profile? And I'll show you exactly how easy that is. The last thing here is reminders. This is saying, when we all get an email in our inbox, maybe we looked at the email at the wrong time and we forgot we got the email, so we didn't do anything with it. We can enable automatic reminders, which are quick bumps that go back via email to that person. And this is saying to remind them one total time, 7 days apart, but you can change this. So maybe I'll change that to 2. So this is going to send them one additional reminder for 7 days apart. So it's going to send them 2 different reminders within 14 days if they didn't do the survey. Now, I'm going to distribute that survey as though I am a customer. So I'm just going to do this manual send and show you what this looks like as if you were a survey respondent or a customer. This is the automated part though. I'm just sending this manually right now. And then let me share a different screen.
And Adam, as you're pulling that up, do you mind sharing with the audience how folks typically automate surveys so they go out and those review requests go out behind the scenes without them lifting a finger?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple of ways we can do that. The most down and dirty way, the easiest way is Brandon had mentioned earlier to consider assigning a staff member in the office to the task of managing reviews and collecting feedback. The down and dirty easiest way is to take a CSV export from whatever your policyholder admin system or a CRM system or wherever you keep your customers. That can even be in a Excel spreadsheet in some cases we've seen, to take a download of that and upload it to the platform. So that handles the distribution of surveys at scale. And the other way is via an API integration with a partner of ours, which is a lot of them, quite frankly. Chances are, if you're using a common CRM, we can integrate with them. And then we take triggers from another system that we are integrated with that says, if this activity happens over here, like maybe let's say policyholder renewal date is within 30 days, then that trigger sends an email through our platform, and that's purely hands off. There's nothing for you to see there. Brandon, can you confirm you can see my cell phone screen here on the left-hand side?
I can. Yes, sir.
Very good. Perfect. All right. So this is a screen mirror to my actual iPhone. So what you're seeing, this is my actual iPhone. It's just capability made available on Apple. So I'm going to open up the platform here and try to get the email. Must have sent it to the wrong email address.
You sent it at adamplusTest@gmail. I think you meant to put it
Oh,
adamplusTest at
Gmail. Yeah,
SurveyLoop.
that was the problem. I see. I can't multitask. We were just joking about that before this webinar started. I can't type and talk at the same time.
You're used to the automation that SurveyLoop provides.
That's right. Exactly. All right. So there
There
it
we
is.
go.
This is the email. Now, this would be as though I was a customer and I was just in the office, or I just had a renewal, or I just signed up with your company. So this is what the survey actually looks like in the inbox. And I'm showing you this on a phone because that's 90% of the time going to be where this is going to be received. So it's important to see what the experience is like on a mobile device. So here's a survey that we just built live together and published. I'm going to give this a 5. And let's see. Please rate the agent's ability to explain the benefits and answer questions on a scale of 1 to 5. Another 5. And what went so well? Is my long-winded answer. I had no idea where to start with Medicare, and honestly, I was overwhelmed. Then I found Brandon, and I can't thank him enough. He walked me through every step with patience and clarity, always making sure I understood my options. He listened to my needs, answered all my questions, even the ones I asked twice, and helped me choose a plan that actually fits my life. What stood out most was how genuine he was. I never felt rushed or pressured. Brandon is knowledgeable, professional, and truly cares about helping people. I've already recommended him to 2 of my friends, and I'll keep spreading the word. If you're looking for someone you can trust with your Medicare choices, Brandon is your guy. Great review, right? Most people don't spend that much time writing, but obviously we had a great experience. So why let that go to waste? You click submit review, and then here's your next screen. So this was that one conditional question that said if they answer 4 or better on their overall satisfaction, the next step to prompt them with is, great, would you share that on Google? So get this big button right here that says share to Google. Click the button, it's going to open up Google. And it mentioned that the text was already copied. All you have to do is paste it. So you don't have to write that long-winded, overly positive review twice. All you got to do is paste it. So there it is, paste. Give it 5 stars and post. I'm not going to actually post this because this will go to our SurveyLoop Google business page, which would be a very strange review for SurveyLoop, a technology company, to receive. So I hope you'll understand that. I don't plan to actually show that part. So there is that. Let's go back here and show you private or public surveys, I mean now. The last one is a public survey, which is similar to a private survey, except for the biggest difference is in a public survey, I don't know who's going to actually who's actually going to take the survey, right? That's coming from a QR code. And in the private survey, we don't have a QR code because in a private survey, where you know exactly who you're going to be surveying. That either comes from an uploaded CSV list. You could type it manually like I did when I mistakenly typed at gmail.com and somebody else, adam@gmail.com, got that random survey. A public survey is married to a publicly available URL, which is this. Not indexed for search, it's just anybody with this URL can take the survey. You have to drive people to that URL, which we encourage to be done with the QR code. So here's a survey that I made. Biggest difference is this is a public survey, so we toggle that on. When you toggle that on, you get all these questions below about creating a QR code. I've already gone through all the customization to make a pretty good looking QR code. I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the QR code that we built and is customized. All of the details you see, the gray circle, the text on the bottom, the text on the top, even the shape of these little tiny dots in the middle is customizable. I put our Survey Loop logo in the middle as well to make this look like a really professional QR code, something that I'd like to download, print, put on a sticker and put it on the wall, or print on a piece of paper and leave it around the office. Just any way that I can encourage people I'm meeting with in real life to take the survey. You can even scan this with your phone right now, and that will take you to this survey. I'll leave that up for a second if you want to get your phones out and scan that so you can kind of see what that experience is like. It's going to look exactly like the screen I just showed on my iPhone in a bit. But if you want to validate that that QR code really works, you are more than able to do that.
Hey, Adam, while some of our attendees are scanning, completing that survey, it just dawned on me, all of the customization options that we're seeing here on screen and that you just walked us through. And we know through serving hundreds of Medicare agencies across the country how important it is to represent your personal brand in your local markets. Can you spend just a quick minute as we reach the end of our webinar talking about the customization options and how all of the insurance agency owners that have joined us today can bring their brand front and center as part of the experience?
Yes, absolutely, Brandon. There's a number of ways that you can customize within the platform. It's all going to live within our settings tab within the platform. You can upload your own survey logo. There's a couple of, sorry, you probably can't see that very well. There's a couple of ways you can upload a logo to the platform. That logo will show up. You would have seen it in the email. It shows up on the top of the survey itself. It shows up in the email. Those are the main places. You can upload either that URL or you can upload an actual file directly to the platform. Either way, it's going to come up to a URL. We just store the logo file within our platform separately. Also, the Google Business Profile. This URL is what's called a share URL. So you can give this URL out to people to drive traffic directly to your Google Business Profile. You can only get a share URL on a verified Google Business Profile, which most companies have gone through already, given Google is who Google is, and it's the #1 place for consumers to go and consume reviews about the people who they either are considering doing business with or intend to do business with. If they're in the discovery phase looking for a Medicare agent during AEP season, they're going to Google already. So you should have your Google Business Profile verified already. Now, when you're within a survey, we have some customers that do things slightly differently. If I was to come in here, and let's say I didn't want to use the Survey Loop logo, which is what you're going to see right here. The Survey Loop logo that's what was uploaded in the settings tab. If you wanted to run like an AEP specific campaign and you don't want to use that logo, instead you want to use one that's branded specifically for a campaign like AEP, you can change that URL to whatever you want. And you do that by clicking this Enable Custom Branding. You can change the logo to something totally different with a URL. You can, and that switches this logo right here to be more campaign specific. And we do have customers that do that regularly. And the last thing that we didn't talk about, which just occurs to me now, is a public anonymous survey. We have customers that use public anonymous surveys because they don't actually want to know the name or the email address of the person completing the survey. They want it to be completely anonymous. This isn't about branding. This isn't about branding, Brandon. This is just sort of related. I was just here looking at this right now. We have customers that use public anonymous surveys right now, primarily to survey their own internal employees. Actually, they will send a survey to their employees, to all of their employee base, to ask them basically like employee satisfaction questions. And we support that use case natively within this platform as well. Very good. I think we'll come back over to the slide deck. And move on to the question and answer section. Let's open it up for some questions. You guys should be able to use the chat feature within Zoom. I think everybody comes on to the webinar muted, which is probably a good thing. But if you want to type your questions in the Q&A, we'd be more than happy to take some questions and answers. If we don't get to your question, then we'll follow up individually as well. All right, we're getting a question come in here, Brandon. First question is, can I use Survey Loop for ongoing client engagement outside of AEP? Or is this specifically and only for AEP?
That's a great question, Adam. If you'd like me to take that, I would say it's both. What we see most commonly is folks during AEP leveraging and taking advantage of those face-to-face and human interactions and leveraging Survey Loop um, to help collect reviews in the moment in real time or shortly thereafter, using surveys like, Adam, what you walked us through today. The other big use case we see our customers use our software for is for an annual check-in using our Net Promoter Score surveys. You've probably received these types of review requests in the past, and the way they differ is that instead of asking on a scale of 1 to 5 how we did today, we're asking on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend me to a friend or colleague? And when we think about the power of reviews, one of the most powerful aspects of reviews is helping us better understand who's most likely to give us referrals throughout the year, and then also who's most likely to be potentially at risk or maybe courted by a competitor. So that Net Promoter Score survey becomes a great way for us to stay engaged outside of AEP.
Very good. We have another question. How does Survey Loop integrate with my existing CRM or contact system? We kind of covered that one a little bit earlier, but it's case by case. If you have a structured system that you're keeping your data in, we'd probably like to hear about what the platform is so we can determine whether it's something we can integrate with or not. Chances are we can, like I said before. Chances are we already do. But we'd like to hear about the specific structured system you're using, whether that's a CRM system or some other contact system where your data is held. Let's see. How long does it take to get Survey Loop up and running? You want to take that one, Brandon?
Sure.
Or I'm happy to as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's an easy one. Survey Loop is designed to be easy to set up and easy to configure. Oftentimes, we have folks set up their account set up same day, and we'll schedule a kickoff call in that first week. From that first kickoff call, we'll walk through their survey library with their survey templates already preloaded, and we'll walk them through the customization options where they can apply their custom branding. So I would say most organizations have their custom branding applied and automation in place within 2 to 3 weeks of signing up with Survey Loop. Would you say that's about accurate, Adam?
Yeah, I was just going to add more color to that because what we see from some of our newly onboarded customers is they don't really know how to make a good survey, right? They've experienced surveys and they get them, but they don't always know, coming from creating a survey from scratch, they don't always know how to make a well-performing survey. And so you mentioned something that I really just wanted to hone in on a little bit there. You don't need to go alone with that. Survey Loop, we will create you a set of surveys to begin with. You are free to use those exactly as is. You're free to customize them however you see fit. But don't feel like you're on an island and you're going to have to do this all by yourself. We're right there with you. Another question. What's one thing you've seen top performing agencies do differently during AEP? And I'll kick it off by saying we don't need to boil the ocean with this one. I'll kick it off by saying one thing that top performing agencies do differently is they ask for a review. It doesn't need to be complex, right? You're not going to get reviews if you don't ask for them. And to make things more clear, or maybe to amplify it a little bit more, it's difficult if you're doing it manually. You should be using a platform like SurveyLoop to automate those outreaches and those requests for a review. So you don't need to make it complex. Brandon, would you add anything else?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Adam. The only thing that I might add is that I think what I see amongst our top performing agencies is that creating a great client experience is a top priority for them and part of the culture ingrained into their business. Regardless of how you're doing it, you understand that your clients are what have gotten your business to where it's at today, and they're what's going to help you grow business moving forward in the future. So, regardless of how you're collecting reviews, it's ingrained as part of your DNA. And I think anyone who decided to register for and attend our session today, it's likely because uh, crafting a great client experience and taking great care of your customers is a large part of your strategy, and you do understand that it's an important aspect of your business.
That's very good. I think that about runs through all of the questions that we've gotten so far.
Adam, thank you so much for the demo. That was fantastic. For the folks that are on the call that are SurveyLoop clients today, thank you so much for joining us. We just pushed a new release last week that has a handful of new features that you may have seen throughout today's demo. Perfect timing. And if it's been a while since we've met with you to walk you through those new features, please reach out to either myself or Adam or Marquise. We'd love to give you an updated tour. Make sure you're ready to take AEP head on and make the most of it this busy season. And if you're new to SurveyLoop, thank you so much for joining us. We're a part of it today, and we look forward to any opportunity to working with you in the future. Adam and I do plan on hosting two more of these webinars as we lead up to October 15th. So please let us know how we can serve you and how we can better prepare your business for this busy season.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a great
Have a
day.
great rest of your day.